We've been through some more already, but today, possibly, fight of the night is on there. Josh Brueckner, who beat Chase Demore in big fashion in Texas last month against Salt Papi, maybe the most feared man in the crossover boxing scene. Both of them join me today in the Digital Face-Off. Boys, how you doing?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Chris.
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, man, the way you keyed that up just puts a big smile on my face, makes the adrenaline get going. I'm stoked for this.
Sol, I see your big smile, man. You must be feeling ready for Jan 14th already.
Yeah, I feel very excited. Just can't wait to show everybody what I got. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of bombs being thrown, and yeah, somebody's gonna get knocked out for real.
Tell me, Sol, I want to start with you because I've seen you call out loads of people. I've seen loads of names linked with your names. I forgot to be honest, I didn't expect to see Josh back out this quick. How happy are you that it is Josh that's going to fight you, who has come off a great win just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Misfit Boxing, Mom Stater, and obviously Josh Brueckner for taking this fight with me. It's kind of hard to get fights nowadays. Nobody wants to fight each other, and it's just good to see, like, two undefeated. We're both young, we're both strong, and we're fighting, like, at the very early, like, of this early stage when we can just, like, wait for the moment. But now we're gonna do it. We don't want to wait, just do it.
Josh, what do you know of Salt Papi? I mean, we every crossover boxer knows of Salt Papi. There is no question of that. But what do you know about him? What do you know of him as a fighter?
Well, first off, I want to say I appreciate the fight, and I want to thank Salt for taking the fight as well. Like he was saying, a lot of people, I think, duck like tough fights in this crossover boxing industry, and I know Salt Papi is a beast. You can see it on the comments, you can see it on all the Instagram polls. He's favored to win this fight. A lot of people are like super excited to see him fight again. They're saying I'm gonna get KO'd. So for me, that excites me, that fuels me, because you saw my last fight, and it was kind of hard to wake up and get excited for that last fight, because he's not the best fighter, but I did like the challenge because he was 50 pounds heavier than me, way bigger than me, and I've never fought someone that big before. I mean, you could see the size difference. I felt like a little man next to him. So yeah, I'm excited for this fight to actually be back in my weight class and to fight a tough opponent in Salt Papi. I love the way people talk about him, that he's the best crossover boxer in the industry. So we're gonna put that to the test on January 14th, and I think it's gonna be a war. We're preparing for
a war, definitely, man, 100%.
4 rounds.
I'm gonna ask to go into this war definition in just a moment, why we expect to see one. But before we do, it was, listen, massive props for beating Chase in the fashion that you did. We can say what we like about his fighting ability, but the size difference was there, and that can often play a huge part. You didn't let it play a huge part. So did you see Josh's fight in Texas? And if you did, what did you make of it?
It was kind of hard to tell because of how, like, how awkward Chase was against him.
Yeah.
So he couldn't really, like, he couldn't really do what he does. But against me, yeah, probably, like, we'll see. I don't want to, like, tell too much. But it's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a good fight. Yeah, for everybody watching, make sure to buy the ticket, the pay-per-view. It's gonna be on one of the best fight of the night.
100% buy yourself a ticket.
Yeah, me and Josh, we don't talk too much trash. People know who the best fighter, like, by just watching us. Like, the real boxers know who can fight and who cannot.
We let the hands talk, baby.
Yeah, just some people in the YouTube boxing, they talk trash, but they don't really know how to fight.
That's what excited me about this fight is Salt Papi is actually about it. You see him training, you see him put in the work, and you even see the progress he's made in his physical appearance over the years, which huge congrats to you. Kudos to you on that. That's something me and my wife are super passionate about, is moving, inspiring people to move, and we even have a fit.
I'm trying to get your money, bro.
It excites me, it excites me.
trying to get muscle, man. Like you in it.
Yeah, hell yeah. You'll get there, bro. You're crushing it. But
I get.
at the same time, like I want people watching this to know, like you see the level of respect here because we know what we've done and we can see what we're putting in the gym. But like when it comes fight night, you know, obviously we both want to get our hands raised. And yeah, we'll be going to war for sure.
Well, let's talk about how we go about getting our hands raised. Josh, I want to start with you. You saw what Salt did last time out. Andy Warski, not to throw any disrespect on anybody's name, same as with Chase Demore, it was an opponent that Salt should have been beaten and had to beat to continue on his journey. He did beat him, but the way he beat him was devastating. Yep. How do you avoid that happening to you in January?
Well, that's the thing, like you're saying, it's hard to kind of judge a fight based off that. Like you could see the difference in the skill level. But at the same time, I mean, Saul still looked good. He had good footwork. He moved well through good feints. And yeah, he's got the knockout power, which that's why it makes it an exciting fight, because you saw what I did to Chase with 50 pounds heavier than me, and he couldn't even get off the stool for the third round. And I would like to say the same thing would have happened to him in that third round if he got off the stool, as what happened to Andy Worski, whatever his name was, that Salt fought. So yeah, so I think this fight's going to be fireworks.
So over to you. Do you see the fight going any similar? Do you see it going in a similar way to your fight with Andy? A different style of fight? What do you see happening in January? And how do you make sure Josh doesn't do to you what he did to Chase Demore?
I'm always training hard for all my fights, even with the Helham and the Warski. I always put all my best, and yeah, I'm not underestimating Josh for this fight. I'm training hard as always. I started running, sprinting, and all that shit. Try more cardio. So what happened to Chase doesn't happen to me, because I'm not gonna gas out.
No, I love that.
So, are you looking for a knockout here? Are you predicting a knockout, Josh, here?
Everything's gonna be a knockout, man. It's gonna be a stoppage or a knockout. It's either me or him.
How do you plan to inflict that on Josh? How do you plan on sort of chopping the trunk until the tree falls, so to speak? Are you going to be headhunting from round one? What kind of fight, without maybe going into too much you don't want to give away, I can appreciate that. How do you plan on stopping it?
I'll wait until the fight, innit? I'm not gonna say it now. You'll see. You have to watch by the pay-per-view. You know.
I love it.
It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight, man. Great fight. Like I said, this is we're two undefeated. We're both young, and we're gonna do our best on that night.
And we're testing ourselves too. That's what I love about this fight. That's what excites me about it. Like he said, he's 2-0, I'm 2-0, and we're both taking a tough fight. You know, we're not beating around the bush. We're not trying to, you know, get our numbers up there, become 10-0 versus bums. You know, we want to take tough fights.
Exactly.
That's the whole reason I got into fighting, is competition. You know, I want to test myself. I want to make myself uncomfortable. You know, I don't want to live every day like just comfortable and, you know, just passing through life. Like January 14th, it's going to be a big test, and we're going to see who put in the harder work in training camp, who's been putting in the days, the hours. And yeah, it's going to show on January 14th. And I'd like to say Saul Papi's putting in that work. So it's going to be a bang.
Putting in that work, boy. Putting in that work, you know.
Yeah, let's go.
Every day, all day, every day.
Love that.
Josh, how do you feel going to London, where Salt has he has a base there, he has a training camp, he's familiar in those territories in that area. How do you feel going to his garden, so to speak?
Just like I said, like I like to put myself in that uncomfortable position. You know, I've never fought out of country, so that's super exciting. I'm stoked for that. I've never been to London. And I've never got booed in a fight. So we're going to get all three in one night. And I think it would be super fun. But I'd like to, by the end of the night, earn the respect of the UK fans and also Saul Papi's fans. Because right now, right now, I don't think it's there. And rightfully so. I mean, if I watched a guy beat up Chase, you know, it's hard to say, you know.
What does it do for your reputation then on continuing on that trend? What does it do for your reputation within the boxing fraternity if you get the win over Salt Papi, especially if it's a knockout victory? What does it do for you and your name and your career?
Yeah, I think when I beat Salt Papi, it's going to open a lot of doors for this influencer boxing game, just because it's going to come to a point where I start winning these fights, and the bigger names or like the scarier fighters, they can't say no. You know, like if I beat Salt Papi, King Kenny can't say no to fight me. You know, or a King
Definitely, yeah, bro.
or whoever's out there, you know, it's not like they're like, oh no, he's not relevant, he's not big enough. That's what it's been a lot for this fight game. I've been trying to fight for the last 2 years, you know, and I haven't been able to get a fight. That's why I give Chase big props, because he was like that door opener for me. You know, he got me back in the game, and here I am fighting again, what, a month and a half later, and versus a good guy too. So yeah, when I win this fight, I think the same thing happens. It's like, okay, well, now you can't say I'm not relevant. You know, you can't say I'm not a good fighter. Before it was like, oh, it's a couple channel. Yeah, they have millions of subscribers. They have a huge audience, but does it convert to boxing? Like, that's what all these like set opponents would say. It's like, oh, their fans don't care about the fight, but you're gonna see January 14th that they do, you know. And as we saw with the last fight too, I mean, that fight did very well, and yeah. So we'll see.
So Josh speaks really, really highly and respectfully of you, which is reciprocated. You speak highly of him as well, but ultimately he's coming to beat you. He wants to get the respect that comes with beating Salt Papi. He wants to come and take that kudos, that credit away from you. How do you deal with? Okay, you're going to be nice and respectful and friendly and everything else, but at the same time, you know what he's coming to try and take from you. You know that he's going to come and try and dethrone you as this most respected man in crossover boxing. How do you deal with being able to separate, if you like, those two mentalities?
I mean, I feel the same way as Josh. I'm trying to take everything away from him so I can get the bigger fights like Slim, Gib, Kenny, all these guys. And yeah, I believe I'm the most defensive boxer in YouTube boxing. And as you guys can see, I had 2 fights with no damage taken, 100% HP, 200% shield. So yeah, I haven't taken any damage from my last 2 fights.
What happens in this fight? Is this the toughest fight of your career to date? Do we see those same numbers coming through?
I believe Josh is a bigger, stronger, better opponent than Gibbs, Slim, Kenny. So if I beat this guy, I should be on the top.
What about you, Josh? Is Salt the toughest career to date, fight in your career to date?
I would say boxing wise, absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, I had my previous MMA background, but I mean, this is years ago at this point. I mean, I haven't had an MMA fight in like 7 years, but yeah, I took some tough fights in MMA, and it was the same way. I wanted to test myself. You know, my first pro fight, I fought the toughest guy in my state at the professional division, you know, at that level, not because I'm arrogant, but because I want to take tough fights. Like, that's why I do this. I want to push myself. So, but yeah, Salt Papi is definitely my toughest fight in boxing, and I think it'll be a fun one.
I want to talk about the crowd and the atmosphere and the environment, because when we were at Misfits 1, that was insane. 2 fights one night for KSI, a packed arena from the first minute to the last minute, and you've gone out there, Salt, and dare I say it, in case KSI sees this, you almost stole the show with that kind of finish in front of that kind of crowd. It was that kind of performance. Now, Texas was amazing. Texas was something completely different. But with all due respect to Josh, I feel like Salt maybe had the larger crowd, the bigger expectations on his shoulders, etc. that night. Do you think maybe that gives you a bit of an edge there, Salt, in that you've seen this London crowd come out before and it's in your garden?
I mean, I was a dancer growing up, so performing in front of many people is what I do. I'm used to it.
Just as calm as you like.
I used to go on Britain's Got Talent, like, you know, all this dance competition when I was younger, and now, yeah, I'm used to it. I just happen to box, like, in part time, like on
Well,
the side, as a hobby. You know what I mean?
are you happy, Josh, that you potentially may be the bad guy if you come over to London, where Salt is an incredibly popular young man, and you've got to be the guy that beats him? You might come out to a bit of a hostile environment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even potentially. It's 100%. I wouldn't say the bad guy though, because there's no bad blood. There's no beef here. It's just two good fighters competing in the ring. And I would like to say, if Salt Papi was to win, he'd be respectful, and same when I win. And I think that's why the UK fans are going to respect that. And at the end of the day, they might be there for Salt Papi, but everyone loves a knockout.
Yes,
And
sir. Yes, sir.
even if it's their guy that goes down, the crowd's gonna go, ooh, and they're gonna be like, oh, this Josh guy's for real. And then I'll be respectful on the mic and go about my day. But
We'll go home happy. I'm gonna
perfect
end
world,
this. I'm gonna end this the same way that we end.
Sir, this fight needs to be a co-main.
I agree.
100%.
100% agree. I mean, if you look at all the comments for these fights, the polls, this 100% has got to be the co-main.
You gotta be the co-main, bro.
Maybe we get mums on the phone. Maybe we get mums on the phone. This
Oh,
is
man, get
that's
mans
not
on
one
the
for me to
phone.
answer, I'm afraid, fellas. But I want to wrap this up in the same way we wrap all of these up. I'm going to ask you both, and Salt, I'm going to start with you, and then Josh, I'll come to you. When everybody else gets out of the ring, the coaches get out of the ring, the cornermen, the trainers, you've done your ring walk. There's the two of you and the referee in the middle. The first bell goes. Salt, what happens?
I'm gonna be smiling at Josh. Let's see what you got. Let's see. I'm gonna tell him. Let's see what you got. That's it.
Josh, over to you. Salt's smiling at you. The first bell's gone. You can't say I'm just going to smile back, because that's not going to make for a great fight. What happens when everyone's out of the ring? Salt's
You know what? I probably will.
Gone.
I probably will smile back, but at the same time, in my head, it's like it's gonna be locked in. It's game time. Let's go out there. Let's see if this kid's about the hype, and whether he's about the hype or not, I'm here to do my business. I'm gonna inflict my game plan. Whatever he does, you saw the same thing with Chase. I hope he doesn't come out throwing punches like that, but if he does, we're gonna inflict my game plan and the night get my hand raised.
Well, January the 14th. I mean, Salt, you're smiling already, Salt.
There's no way I'm throwing my hands like Chase.
No, I hope not. Please don't. Please don't.
What do you think, Salt? You're looking at maybe more accuracy, landing a few bombs straight away, yeah?
You'll see, man. I believe I'm one of the most accurate boxer in YouTube boxing. Everything when it lands, you can get knocked out.
Well, cards are close to our chests. We're all going to be smiling January 14th, but we find out which hype train gets derailed, which one comes off the tracks, who gets the knockout in London at a packed-out Wembley Arena. January the 14th, live on the DAZN pay-per-view, topped by KSI Dennis. This undercard just keeps on giving. Salt Papi, Josh Brueckner. Boys, thank you very much for joining us. Good health. We'll see you in fight week.